Morning all, by special request I'm making another quick video about the regular students art kit and for painting in acrylics and what you need in it. This is just as you can see, a tote bag from Coles. Good thing about it is it has a square bottom, but usually the bottom that's in it is a little bit floppy, so it's good to then custom make some sections in your carry bag, in your art tote bag. Don't want to go and spend $90. There's no such thing as an art trolley. There is embroidery trolleys for sewers and things. So see, once you take that nice box, it's a bit of a floppy trolley. This box was just something my new modem came in, but when you put it in the bottom, it gives a little bit of space around for other things, and also your bottles and things what you want to stand up will stand up. There's certain bottles and things you don't want rolling around, and also you stay wet. So what I have at the moment is the bag, a box. You could get a plain piece of cardboard, score it, fold it, score it, fold it, to make it sort of compartmentalize this bag. It's not rocket science, it just makes it stiffer and firmer, and then you have compartments for different things. But at the moment, with that box in there, I've got room to put a roll of brushes, a brush kit, a towel, a second-hand old towel, and a small roll of paper towel, which you're always going to need as well. Usually I give my students a glass palette, which is the economical way to mix your paint rather than stirring it around on a palette with a brush. Here I've got homemade sort of rip-off palettes. These are just, like things you get off contact, the peel-off part, so it's very good, resists the paint. And what you can do if you cut some of those is you can turn them over and put them together like that, and you end up keeping a very small amount of paint dry until next week. If you want a proper stay wet system for months, even years, we're going to talk about that in a minute, but making your own rip-off palettes, you can buy a rip-off palette. It's got a little hole here and you put your thumb in and it looks like a real ridgy-dig sort of artist palette, but they're about $5, and I don't know how many sheets you get, but you can pretty much make a lot out of a 70-cent roll of contact from your cheap shop, $2 shop, something like that. Or you can just take the easy way and buy the rip-off palettes. Another good thing is white disposable plates. They're good for palettes as well, for acrylics. I've got room in there for my resources folder. And also I've got room in there down the side for my drawing book, A4, but I think I've actually got room for an A3 as well. My drawing kit is in a nice firm zip-up folder, but you can put all sorts of, your pencil case or whatever in there as well. Now, still empty inside my box. My box has now made it sit firmly on its bottom. It's got some solidity to it, but it's just a recycled tote bag. You haven't spent a lot of money yet. These I've discovered from Spotlight. They're about $4.50, something like that. They've got probably enough for 30 or 40 mils in here, so you can mix your secondaries and decent quantities of tints and tertiaries and neutrals, that sort of thing that you're going to be mixing. There's 7 in each, so you could get 2 or 3 of those, and that's one kind of stay wet system, and that fits. You don't want to roll that around or put it vertical, so that fits right on the bottom of your box. Or you could, somewhere in my site, you'll see the Ferrero Rocher chocolate box stay wet palette. That's a favourite with some because they have to eat all the chocolates before they start. This was a lemon tart tray, and it's got little ice cube trays, custom shortened to fit inside, and a plastic lid goes on top. Now, this was for temporary projects. As an experiment actually, no Wet-X or sponges was put in the top. With the chocolate box idea, we glue sponges to this top lid here with Araldite or Tarzan script, because that works best on these kinds of plastics. Once it's dried, 24 hours later, you can wet them, and then you've got a lovely humid environment. Put it in the bottom of your fridge. The colours that you've made up will stay for months and months and months. Many reasons why you can do that. That's a little bit wide to go flat in the bottom of my current box. Might need a bigger box if you're going to use that. This is some kind of cake tin, which did get its sponges. Okay, they're a bit messy, but look, lovely wet paint. Not hard plastic that you can actually pull it out and reuse those ice cube trays, but who wants to do that? So there's lots of ways to create a box like that. You just need, you know, your ice cube trays or your chocolate box that's already got little sort of pockets in it. You know, bottles of varnish go on top. If you're buying bottles, 250ml bottles of Atelier Free Flow, get ready, because that's the most expensive way, but they are a liquid paint that doesn't dry out easily. They're beautiful quality, as good as golden. The transparents are truly transparent. They're very, very light, fast. They range in price depending on the series, but if you're serious and you know you're going to be doing it for a while, get that kit. It's on the website. But then, you know, your 6 bottles will fit in there, your varnish will fit in there, your gel medium will fit in there, so that you can make heavy body out of that anytime you want. If you are using tubes, I'd have another little freezer bag or something and put all your tubes in one bag down in there, and your whatever else other mediums that you have. $2 shops have good little bags of small bottles and spray. I've actually got liquid varnish in this one, but usually they use this one for their water mister, and that's very important if you're going to avoid using retarder, and I do recommend avoid using retarder. It's a glycerin based thing that some people use to slow down the drying of their acrylics, but it's very tacky, especially in summer. And if you've got good brush skills and a spray mister, you'll get along a lot better. Different forms of stay wet palette. Spotlight have these, they're about $4 for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You could get a couple of those as your stay wet, 2 or 3 of those, but you must use good old Vaseline on the thread to stop the glue from gluing shut your little screw jars. These are actual beading jars, but they do work very well. I've got some that I've had for years, just larger size than this, for some heavy body paints. They're less for liquid, more for heavy body. If you are using liquid paints, put a tiny bit of gel medium into what you're saving before you put it in here, and then spray mist it. That's another alternative. And you can buy cheaper, you know, $2.50 from the $2 shop. Once again, it's got a screw lid, Vaseline it. Yeah, that's going to work a lot better for you. I've supplied people paint in these, but I use rubber cement around here to create a nice frictiony little grippy lid. Once again, they have to be stacked, not rolling around. So they're probably not your ideal. Your own bottles or your own tubes is probably best. There's room in there for your own water bottle, but we supply those. There's room for it. But if, say, you were going off-site to paint plein air outside, just slipped a ruler in there, this would be good for that as well. Now, I'm just going to open up the brush kit and show you. Everyone's always asking, what do I put in my brush kits? Because it does cost you quite a bit if you do it piecemeal. So I buy one of these brush rolls. Montmartre make them for about $15, and they're just full of these cheap hog hair brushes. They got a whole stack of rounds and flats. So I leave some basics of rounds and flats, whip everything out, and then you've got spaces for your specialist brushes. Plus, this one's missing its wooden handled metal spatula, which they all have, my kits that I make up. So imagine that with a wooden handle. It has usually a couple of plastic spatulas as well, but the wooden handle one with metal here is the best thing on your glass palette for scraping every last bit of paint, putting it into your stay wet, and then taking what you need at the time to put on your painting palette, which is not your mixing palette. In here you've got a nice hog hair fan brush. Fan brush is much better in hog hair because when it's wet, more fingers open up. The synthetic ones just give you like 3 or 4 fingers. All right, for very fat blades of grass or something like that. This is a priming brush. It's also made of hog hair. And you've got these beautiful 2 sizes, but there are 3 or 4 sizes, Taclon. These are very good for soft blending. They're called a varnish brush actually, but very, very good for glazing, varnishing, and also soft blending. If you want to do a lot of soft blending, you're probably better off to get yourself an oil kit as well. Several sizes of flat synthetic brush. Synthetic hairs come in whites and blacks and oranges. They come in all sorts, but here we've got the orange Taclon. And then there's a liner and a pointer. So you see that pointer's tiny and small? That's good for fine detail. The liner is harder to control, but it holds more paint. So you can do very long lines that go a long way without running out of paint. That's why it's called a liner. What else? So that's your basics. You can have rubber sculpting tools in there, all sorts of things, but you definitely need a few sizes of what I've just shown you. in a basic brush kit. This kit here costs $60 because I've got that for $15 and then put all the specialty ones in. It's going to cost you a bit more if you go to an art store picking things out at piecemeal. They're going to try and sell you the Roy Max or the expensive brushes. You do not need the expensive brushes for acrylics. Acrylics and animal hair brushes, as a rule, don't get on, so don't be tricked into buying expensive animal hair brushes. They are sort of required in oil painting and watercolour painting to a certain degree. That's another story. But basically that's what's in the brush kit, and that fits inside your little carry bag with everything else. So, hope you've got a nice kit for yourself or got enough information to help you get one.